Hey Krishna, there is no shortage of buzz right now about agentic AI. I wanted to talk to you about, how you define agentic AI and the intersection of AI and unstructured data management.
Hey, Darren. Yeah, absolutely. I think one way to think about agentic AI versus like what we've seen so far is the difference between an ongoing service and a one-time thing. So, like if you want to compare to programming, if you have a method which will do one thing, that's kind of where we've been with AI. You can ask a question of a chatbot and it answers the question, or you ask an LLM a prompt and it replies to the prompt. So it's just one interaction and many independent interactions. Instead, if you look at it as a software program, it's a series of things that the program does for you. So it actually solves a problem for you, taking several steps. So similarly, if you take an LLM and you turn it into an agent, it actually performs a full workflow for you, which may require several steps. So, yeah, it's like a method versus a program, but with AI. That's kind of how I think about it. But there are many different
Makes
ways, I
sense.
guess, to think about
If
it.
now if these programs are now kind of making decisions, it's even more important to have the right data. So talk about kind of how you're seeing the importance of unstructured data, right now, and maybe even tie into what Comprise can do.
Yeah, it's interesting, Darren, because I think, preparing data for AI, it's kind of seems like a no-brainer. I mean, even in our surveys, whenever we ask people what's the most important thing for you with AI, they say, oh, we got to prepare data for AI. So it seems like so obvious.
Right.
And yet, I think many haven't really understood what it means when it comes to unstructured data. And the reason I say that is because unstructured data is really very different from anything we have seen so far. So far, the world of data and analytics has really focused on data that sits inside tables, whether it's fully structured in a database or it's semi-structured in a spreadsheet or a JSON file or a Parquet file, it's still tabular data. And so, when you prepare that data, you really focus on normalizing the table and on making sure the rows in the table have integrity and things like that. But you can copy an entire table and you can manipulate it quite easily. Unstructured data is not like that. We all know it's many, many formats. A lot of it is sitting in file storage, which people haven't even figured out really how to connect to file storage to AI correctly. And then even data that's sitting in SharePoint or Dropbox and all of that, you don't want to just write a connector and bring a whole folder of files because some of that may have sensitive data. You may have 10 copies of the same file, and which copy is the best authoritative source? You don't really know. So, quality of data, maintaining governance and security of data, figuring out role based access for that data, and then, cost management. It's one thing to copy one table. It's another to copy billions of files and petabytes of data, spend months doing it, and pay, tens of thousands to millions of dollars storing it, and then run compute on it, etc. So the scale of the problem is significantly bigger, which means the risks are significantly higher with taking too much unstructured data or the wrong unstructured data to AI. And that's why preparing unstructured data for AI, we believe, is probably the biggest hurdle for enterprise production deployment of AI. And that's the problem we're focusing on.
And do you see right now there's a lot of pilots, a lot of departmental initiatives, and and some wins. Do you see this becoming more of an issue or recognized challenge as we see these big enterprise deployments? When you talk to customers, what are you hearing about that transition from kind of pilot to production?
Yeah, a lot of people are, excited and, creating, pilots, especially with generative AI, like little chatbots and things like that. But you don't see that many projects going to production. And I think Gartner actually recently said 60% of those pilots are going to fail. They're never going to reach production. That may sound like a doomsday kind of stat, but if you really think about it, it's probably accurate because we all know. I mean, think about even self-driving cars, right? We were talking about self-driving cars, what, like 7 years ago? And we thought our roads would be littered with self-driving cars. And I mean, look at it now, right? It's not that you can't create a self-driving car, but to do this at scale is a really hard problem because of the last mile. It's that last mile problem. And I think this is true for enterprise production use of AI. And with AI in the enterprise, it all comes down to data, I think, because AI is nothing without data. So, yeah, I think a lot of these pilots may not get to production, but we'll learn a lot from them. And I think what will happen is there'll be a greater understanding that, data needs to be prepared properly for these pilots to reach production. And I think a more systematic data preparation effort will go underway in a lot of these places, and IT will get involved.
Fantastic. Sounds like Komprise will as well. Thanks for the update, Krishna. It's an exciting time. We'll check back with you in a couple of months.
Yeah, thank you.
See you next time. Bye.